the science, the con. He's addressed the Parliament in Australia. He's travelled to Congress in the US and addressed the Congress there. And let's see and hear what David has to say to us today.
Thank you, Jarks. Fellow Australians, Plato said that the penalty good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. There is no doubt that we are ruled by evil men and evil women.
That's not a woman, that's a skank.
Evil men and evil women who are fully aware of the damage they are doing to our economy and to the warp and weft of our society. Evil men and evil women who seem to be in a manic rush to do as much damage as possible in the time left to them. It is now universally accepted that the carbon tax is a very bad thing promoted by evil people. The evil goes back a bit further than Julia Gillard's broken promise and Kevin Rudd's inane pronouncements. This tax has been a long time coming and has mixed paternity. The last dark deed of the Howard government was the passage of the National Greenhouse and Energy Reporting Act in October 2007. That act is the auditing basis of the carbon tax. Mr. Howard's plan was to get the auditing system bedded down and then start taxing. Labor's carbon tax would be a couple of years behind schedule if Mr. Howard had not laid the bureaucratic foundations for it. The evil that men do lives after them. And in Mr. Howard's case, that is a possible future in which Australia does not have a cement industry, a steel industry, oil refining, a multitude of other industries, and most importantly, a synthetic fuels industry. That is the part of the Howard legacy that many of us have toiled mightily to avoid. That legacy is now with us, and we stare into the abyss of a continually shrinking economy. The list of carbon tax plotters is a lot longer than Howard, Rudd and Gillard. As a scientist, what saddens me is that most of our scientific institutions have failed in their duty to serve and protect the Australian people. The CSIRO, the Bureau of Meteorology, the universities have all sold their souls for a handful of silver.
30 pieces of silver.
Our academics have met our lowest expectations of them.
It's true. That's right.
And then there are the institutions that actively and purposefully and very treacherously conspire against us. Chief of which is the ABC, which has ceaselessly and shamelessly promoted the bizarre cult of carbon. The ABC pays lip service to the norms of our society while doing their best to undermine it. The ABC is well past its use-by date.
Sell it! Sell it!
It sees Australia through its perverted lens of self-loathing.
Burn it!
The next federal government will inherit a lot of debt.
I know.
Sacrifices will have to be made to pay off that debt. The easiest sacrifice to make will be to shut down the ABC. The huge sum that is spent keeping the beast alive would be better off being used to pay off Labor's legacy of debt. If our nation is to endure, the ABC must not survive the next term of federal parliament. None who love our country will weep for it.
No.
Just as this government did not weep for the cement workers who have already lost their jobs due to the carbon tax.
Yes.
And then there is the matter of the CSIRO. They have told too many lies over too many years. Their betrayal of the Australian people cannot be forgiven. To this day, they are trying to sell the Australian people into the slavery and oppression of the carbon tax. The CSIRO must be reformed through the benefit of much correction. The factory and smelter closures that were so predictable under the carbon tax have already begun.
Yeah.
Many of those factories will be closed forever, and no amount of wishing or hoping or endless tears will bring them back again.
Right.
The people who worked in those factories, leading productive lives that helped us all, well, many of those lives are now broken.
Yeah.
Families broken, ambition thwarted. Do those whoever breathed a word in favour of the carbon tax bear the guilt of those broken and disrupted lives and broken and disrupted marriages to your graves?
That's right.
Your sin was not a love of nature, but a loathing for your fellow man.
That's right. That's right.
Your fault